You know, my mind is really boggled here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand how WWE took a pay-per-view which already had no interest going into it, which was built up to like trash, which had a card that looked like trash, which, I mean, really had no buzz coming out of two, well, pay-per-views that you can classify as trash, WrestleMania and the Greatest Royal Rumble. There was no buzz for this pay-per-view whatsoever. And WWE, you know, there's things that they did wrong, but they did the things wrong here tonight that, like, you're not expecting them to do wrong. Like, these are the most fundamental things that you need to do to have a good show, and WWE completely sidelined that in the attempt to, once again, I don't even know what they were attempting to do here tonight, but in the attempt, once again, here tonight, to put Roman Reigns over as the top babyface of this company. And realistically, that makes no goddamn sense to me here tonight. WWE fundamental errors left and right. And besides the first matchup on this show, which was Seth Rollins versus The Miz, which actually very much surprised me in its quality, and what we saw inside the ring between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, besides that, this show was complete and utter garbage through and through. And you know, what do you expect? What did you expect? We came into this show here tonight coining it as back trash. Yet, here we are tonight, and what can I tell you? Everybody who called this show back trash, everybody who predicted that this show was going to be nothing special, was absolutely correct in every facet of the word. Backlash was a god-awful pay-per-view here tonight. Of course, there were a couple select moments that were very enjoyable. There, of course, was matches on this show which were very, very good. Like I mentioned, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, and The Miz and Seth Rollins. But overall, this show, what killed this show was the lack of build. What killed this show was the lack of storyline. What killed this show was a card that was never going to deliver. And that's exactly what we saw here tonight. The card went as follows: AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe, which main evented the show. Let me just go on a little rant right here. The WWE Championship. The WWE Championship was being defended on this show. There was no Universal Championship. There was no other World Championship being defended on this show. The WWE Championship was being defended between AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Those not only are two names that deserve to main event any show that they're on, regardless of championship, but with the championship on the line, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and it gets sidelined to third to last on this show, on Backlash, on Backtrash of all shows. Nakamura versus Styles for the WWE Championship gets sidelined. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is frustrating, bro. WWE really views Roman Reigns more valuable than the 50-year prestigious legacy of the WWE Championship. You have got to be goddamn kidding me with that one. That is one of the most ridiculous things that I could have ever uttered, but that's exactly what the case was here tonight. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe main evented over the WWE Championship, and a feud as important, and a feud with the intensity that AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura has created. That is complete and utter garbage. Absolute garbage. Holy crap, just needed to get that out of the way. One of the most frustrating things, and that's exactly what I was talking about a couple minutes ago when I said that they messed up in the simplest, most fundamental things that you need to get to make a good show. The main championship goes on last. And let me tell you, closing the show with Styles and Nakamura would have been way better than closing the show with Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe, and it was evident because the crowd turned on this matchup the second it started. In Newark, New Jersey, the crowd here tonight was absolutely phenomenal. They did their job. They let the bullshit be known when there was bullshit on their screens, or when there was bullshit in front of their eyes, since they were there in person, and they were boisterous here tonight in Newark, New Jersey, and that's how it needed to be. That's exactly how it needed to be. And things, because of the crowd, and I always stress how the crowd is one of the most important parts of the show, well, here tonight, that was proven, because here tonight, this show, I'm going to tell you that this show's quality was improved because of this crowd here tonight. But that is besides the point. Continuing on with what the card was here tonight, AJ Styles versus Nakamura for the WWE Championship. I mentioned that. Reigns versus Joe. We saw an awful Women's Championship matchup on both fronts, with Carmella and Charlotte going for the Smackdown Women's Championship. And, of course, Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss going for the Raw Women's Championship. A irrelevant United States Championship matchup between Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. Surprisingly enough, we saw the meaningless tag team matchup that was Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And of course, hopefully I'm not forgetting anything here, because this is off the top of my head. We had the Intercontinental Championship matchup, which surprisingly enough ended up being the best matchup on the show here tonight. It was The Miz and Seth Rollins going one-on-one for the Intercontinental Championship. So that was the card here tonight. We also had a segment which I felt went way too long, but it was an entertaining segment nonetheless. It was Elias doing a concert here tonight and being interrupted by the likes of the New Day, Rusev Day, of course, No Way Jose, all these names rhyme, and the glorious Bobby Roode. So there you go with that. That was the show here tonight as far as the card goes. We're going to talk about all that, but overall, besides my initial reactions being completely negative, yes, the show was trash. Yes, the show is trash. Yes, this show had no impact regarding, and I also forgot the singles match between Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. That was also another matchup on this show here tonight. Just forgot to mention that one. Again, nothing that moved the needle with that matchup here tonight. But that was the card, and like I said, nothing fantastic here tonight. This show ended up being exactly what we predicted it to be. Nothing special. It was presented as such, and it came across as such on television. But of course, this is Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, just to get the intro out of the way right there. Of course, I just want to tell you guys to make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. And the reason I say that is because there is so much of the content for all of you to go check out. Make sure to go check out all the content that was uploaded earlier this week. Behind the Mic was not able to get uploaded this week due to complications, of course, but we did have the Monday Night Raw and Smackdown live reviews up on the channel nonetheless, so you can, of course, make sure to go check those out. Monday Night Raw and Smackdown live reviews, they were the go-home shows to Backlash, but not really go-home shows, because who the hell was going to spend time building to an irrelevant pay-per-view like Backlash? At least that's WWE's mentality, I guess. So make sure to go check out the Monday Night Raw and Smackdown reviews. We're talking everything regarding the Backlash pay-per-view that was regarded on that show, as far as build to the show, which there wasn't, and everything that happened on Monday Night Raw. 6-man tags, tag team matches galore. You already know the deal. Make sure to go check out the Raw review and, of course, Smackdown Live, talking everything on there. Of course, make sure to go check out the preview and predictions to this very show, because the preview and predictions, they entail everything that I thought of going into the show. And we actually go into a very interesting discussion talking about all dual branded pay-per-views going forward and how this is going to impact WWE's mid-card. Make sure to go check that one out. Very interesting stuff on there, but that is besides the point. Make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling channel for all this fantastic content, just like what you're watching right here. Of course, we talk about everything regarding the WWE right here on Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. So, of course, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe. Leave that comment in the enlightenment box down below. What did you think of the WWE Backlash pay-per-view? Did you think it was a good one? I certainly didn't, but everybody's entitled to their opinion, so make sure to comment in the comment section down below. Tell me your thoughts on this show. If you disagree with them, if you agree with them, what do you think this pay-per-view means for the WWE going forward? Give me your little mini review down in the comment section below, because for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going straight into the review of WWE Backlash 2018, and I think this is one of those shows where a backwards review is warranted. We're going to start off talking the main event. Actually, we're just going to do random orders here of the matches, but I want to start off talking about the main event. I want to start off talking about the main event on this goddamn show, because it was Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe, and this matchup was awful. It didn't need to be. It didn't need to be awful. This could have been a very, very good matchup between Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns. But of course, WWE decided to sabotage this matchup in two ways. Because one way was that they made this matchup the main event. And everybody knows what the rightful main event of the WWE Backlash 2018 pay-per-view should have been. When we look back in history to this meaningless pay-per-view, we should at least be able to say, well, the main event was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That was a damn good one. But no, WWE didn't even give us that gift. They decided to put this matchup on as the main event, and there was one reason for that. Roman Reigns. They want to position Roman Reigns as the big dog, the uncrowned Universal Champion. He has to be in the prime position each and every single time, not even if there's no championship on the line, which there wasn't here tonight. WWE rather put 50 years of the legacy of the WWE Championship under the big dog. You have got to be kidding me with that. And hell, I'm glad that they paid the price for it, but they should have seen this coming. Quite frankly, they should have seen this coming, and this is why I'm counting this as one sabotage of this matchup. This is definitely not a reaction that Samoa Joe deserved, but that's exactly what he got in this matchup with Roman Reigns. Of course, the crowd turned on this matchup, and all the chants were merciless, bro. They chanted boring. This is boring. They booed every time that Roman Reigns hit a shot. They cheered every single time that Samoa Joe hit a shot. They chanted Roman sucks. At one point, they even chanted beat the traffic, saying that traffic is more entertaining than what they were seeing in the middle of the ring in this matchup. You have got to be kidding me with the reaction that this got. But this was the main event to your show. WWE's fun. They ignore the reaction. The commentators didn't mention it once. They want to call Roman Reigns this polarizing figure. No, he's not polarizing. Roman Reigns isn't getting this reaction that, oh my God, this is somebody who's just like, he walks in the room and like, wow, look at that. That's not the type of guy that Roman Reigns is, because that's what a polarizing figure is. Somebody who you just walk in and he's like, whoa. That guy just walked in. That's not what happens when Roman Reigns walks in. When Roman Reigns walks in, people want to see him walk right back out. He gets go away heat. People do not want to see him. It's not heel heat. It's not just a reaction like WWE likes to say. It is go away. I do not want to see you anymore. Leave the ring. Don't want to see you on my television. Don't want to see you in the ring. Don't want to see you near a WWE screen. That's the type of reaction that Roman Reigns gets, and WWE fails to realize that. And I don't even think they fail to realize that. I think they just rather ignore it because they know this is a failure, yet they're so hard-headed, they're so stubborn that they do not want to admit to their failure. They don't want to do anything that's going to have you say, well, we were right. They turned Roman heel. Look, we were right. They don't want to have that happen. They don't want to say, oh, look, Roman's falling down the card. We were right. Look where Roman is now. We were right. It's a failure. WWE doesn't want that Backlash, which is coincidentally the name of the pay-per-view, to come back on them. And for that very reason, they rather get these pissful reactions at their main events of pay-per-views. They're just lucky that this is a meaningless pay-per-view that nobody cares about either way. But the second way that they sabotaged this matchup, and it was so evident, bro, so evident, is that they rather have, instead of Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe putting on a competitive matchup that they can have. I think it was the final episode of Monday Night Raw where they had a matchup back when Roman Reigns was the Intercontinental Champion. They had a matchup. That was a great matchup. Probably the best matchup we've seen between Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns in their many encounters. They could have done something along the lines of that. Something that we know that both Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns are capable of. But instead, WWE decided to sabotage this matchup. I have no idea who designs these matchups for Roman Reigns. Whoever the hell is the showrunner, the agent for this matchup, did a pitiful job, and there's one reason why they did the pitiful job. This was done on purpose. They had Samoa Joe work a rest hold for about 10 minutes in this matchup, probably exaggerating that, but about 5 minutes of this matchup was just a rest hold by Samoa Joe. And what they were doing there, by design, is that they're trying to make this matchup boring. You're seeing Samoa Joe doing the rest hold. When Roman Reigns does the comeback, people are going to cheer for him. People are going to say, well, it's Roman Reigns making this matchup exciting. Joe ain't doing shit. That's going to be the mentality of the people. That's what WWE is trying to manipulate. That's what WWE is trying to feed you. Did it work? Thankfully, the New Jersey crowd was too good here tonight to buy into that shit. But WWE, always trying to manipulate their ways, always trying to sabotage whatever they can, manipulate whatever they can, give Roman Reigns that crutch whenever they can, because they know that this guy cannot get over on his own. They know people are tired of this force-fed garbage year after year after year after year. But they continue here tonight because Samoa Joe was a beaten man here tonight at the hands of Roman Reigns. And quite frankly, this benefits nobody. This benefits nobody because, quite frankly, Roman Reigns needed the win. I'll give you that. He's been a loser. He's been a downright loser for the past couple months after losing at the hands of Brock Lesnar. There's no denying that, but you can't deny the fact that this is a bump in the road for Samoa Joe. No doubt about that, who needed this win because this was his first big matchup returning from injury. And you're going to have him take a loss against Roman Reigns? Are you joking me right there? Samoa Joe was a stepping stone in the feud between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar because of Brock Lesnar's absence. That doesn't make Samoa Joe look good in the slightest, because what if Samoa Joe goes on to Smackdown Live and competes for the WWE Championship, wins the WWE Championship? Well, now you know the WWE Champion on SmackDown Live is just the stepping stone of Roman Reigns. That's the way that makes that look. So this ending and this result was not one that I favor. Not at all. Not at all. But Roman Reigns won the matchup here tonight. This was a miserable matchup, no doubt about it. What we seen here tonight, the first minute of this matchup, was more exciting than anything else we seen here. What we saw here tonight was Samoa Joe, within seconds of this matchup, the same attack pretty much that he did on Brock Lesnar back at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view in their Universal Championship matchup. Uranagi on Reigns through the table. Roman Reigns is trying to recuperate, get back in this matchup, leads us into those rest holds. We saw a near fall spear where Joe got his boot on the ropes, and we saw a near fall coquina clutch where Samoa Joe had Roman Reigns in the coquina clutch. I actually thought WWE was going to give us something that we might actually want to see, and Roman Reigns was actually going to pass out. They even had his eyes rolling in the back of his head, but of course, the referee, seeing a knocked out Roman Reigns, WWE made it go a little bit longer than anybody else would withstand in the coquina clutch, and Roman Reigns made his way out anyways, because he's the big dog, he's the superhero, he's Superman of the WWE. Not really. Not really, at least not in my eyes. But, of course, Roman Reigns made his Superman comeback, hit a second spear, and the best part of this matchup, quite frankly, what I'll tell you is that WWE actually referenced that the Muscle Buster is still in the arsenal of Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe at one point propped Roman Reigns up on the ropes and looked to be going for a Muscle Buster, and Corey Graves even said it. Oh, it looks like Samoa Joe is going for a Muscle Buster. Did we see the Muscle Buster? No. Hell no. But at least it was referenced, because since the debut of Samoa Joe back in January of 2017, we have not heard or seen of the Muscle Buster. At least it was referenced here tonight. But, I mean, what am I supposed to tell you? A miserable matchup, terrible, awful, horrible, all the adjectives in the book, and at the end of the day, another Roman Reigns finish. You have got to be kidding me. This has been one of the worst matchups of Roman Reigns 2018. I mean, Roman Reigns in 2018 has been putting on some god-awful matchups. There's no doubt about that. Who the hell has been assembling the matchups of Roman Reigns? Brock Lesnar and Reigns had a complete stinker at WrestleMania. Same thing at Great Balls of Fire. Tonight was an absolute dumpster fire. Or not Great Balls of Fire. Same thing at the Greatest Royal Rumble. There you go. Holy crap, these names of the pay-per-views are terrible. But that's besides the point. Same thing at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, god-awful steel cage matchup. And what we seen here tonight? Nothing better against Samoa Joe. You've got to be kidding me. There was no excuse for this to main event this pay-per-view, but that's exactly what WWE did here tonight. And from there, we move on to AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and this was a great matchup. This was a great matchup. I'll give you that. WWE let these guys go out there for 30 minutes, and they burned the house down. And if we would have seen a finish, I think a lot of us would have been declaring this a great matchup. But WWE, they cannot let anything that is good be good. Of course, they have to ruin it with their illogical bullshit. And I was already salty enough going into this matchup, knowing that it was not going to be the main event of this pay-per-view. I was already pissed enough that WWE was discouraging the legacy of the WWE Championship just to put Roman Reigns in this pretty little position, which overall did nothing for him here tonight. If anything, it made the reaction worse. But we saw a matchup between AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and let me tell you, that is never anything to complain about. It started off slow, but it worked its way into something so great. Nakamura and Styles were on their A game here tonight. Every single shot from Nakamura especially was super stiff. He was giving some hard kicks and knees, and those boots that we saw at WrestleMania through the ropes. He was giving those, and you felt it. You felt it when Nakamura was hitting those boots on Styles. I mean, the best part of this matchup, no doubt about it in my eyes, was when Nakamura, he actually hit a exploder suplex on the chair. Great spot right there. And he's loading up for the Kinshasa. And AJ Styles grabs that chair that he was hit with an exploder on, and he throws it into the face of Shinsuke, or into the knee of Nakamura, and I started laughing my ass off, bro, because the chair literally went into the knee of Nakamura and ricocheted into the face of AJ Styles. And let me tell you, that actually furthered this matchup. As hilarious as it was, and as stupid as it looked, that AJ Styles pretty much flung the chair onto himself into the knee of Nakamura, and it hit his face anyways. The chair, and I saw this on Twitter, and I laughed my ass off. I could not take this seriously, bro. Somebody said, well, that chair went knee to face. That chair went knee to face. That is certainly true. That was a hilarious spot right there. But it added to this matchup, back into a serious note here, and it added into this matchup because it actually bloodied the cheek of AJ Styles. It hit into the cheek of AJ Styles, and AJ was bleeding. And, you know, this is a blood feud. This is a blood feud, and it made this matchup feel more legitimate, whether the blood was intentional or not, which clearly it was not intentional. It furthered the matchup, and it goes to show you how color every here and now does not hurt. It does not hurt. Now, you don't want to be doing it to the extent that WWE used to do it back in like early 2000s, bro. Ric Flair was bleeding each and every single week on television. He'd trip and, oh, apparently he's bleeding. Oh my God, he's busted wide open. His face looks like a crimson mask. Anyways, that is besides the point. I mean, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, they proceeded to put on a very, very good matchup here tonight on the Backlash pay-per-view. We saw multiple near falls in this matchup. What happened from there? But okay, this is what happened here. I'm recalling it as we go here. Didn't take notes here tonight because I'm not gonna take notes on garbage. But this matchup I probably should have. But they proceeded to exchange low blows, and I love this. I absolutely love this because Nakamura hit Styles with the patented low blow, Nutcracker Nakamura, as Solid Monster likes to say it. He hit him with the patented low blow. He cracked those nuts, but AJ Styles decided to do the same, so both of them fell, and I just popped out of my seat. I said, yes, I love that. That was great. That was a great spot. That was a great visual, and I love when they give those symbolic visuals. I absolutely adore that, and that's exactly what they did here tonight. That was amazing. But AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, that was a great spot. But they proceeded to do it again. This time they both kicked each other in the nuts. And I said, that's even better. As long as they get back up, right? Because the referee was doing the count where if both of them are down, if both of them can't continue, well, I'm going to have to end the matchup. Which is absolutely ridiculous. Because this matchup is supposed to be no DQ. If it's no DQ, that means anything goes. So why the hell is the referee instating rules into this matchup? Why is he counting when both men are down? This is a no disqualification matchup. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But it went into a no contest. This is the stupidest finish that you could have gone for. Holy crap, WWE. You took what was a great matchup for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura once again correcting the wrong that they had at WrestleMania. They were continuing on the great matchup they had at the Greatest Royal Rumble. I was definitely into it. And WWE, I'm fine with you finding a way to extend the feud. But why would you go into such a poor finish that makes absolutely zero sense? Come on, put some thought into it. You've got to be kidding me. That was the most ridiculous way you could have ended this matchup, and it took points away from what was otherwise a stiff, hard-hitting, freaking fantastic encounter between AJ Styles and Nakamura, which I want to see get a finish. I really, really do. But WWE, for the sake of extending this feud, which I totally understand because I want to see this matchup going forward again and again and again. I could see these guys wrestle forever, but WWE, they decide to give you a finish that makes no sense, and it just frustrates the hell out of me because I want to see this be great, but they just take you out of it. So AJ Styles here tonight, due to a no contest for a no DQ match, AJ Styles retains the WWE Championship due to a no contest. This feud between Nakamura and AJ Styles will undoubtedly continue, and I find that to be absolutely nonsensical, no logic garbage. But that's besides the point because we got to continue talking about other things on this show, and that of course has to be Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. That's the next matchup we're going to discuss here, and this matchup just completely blew. It went like 8 minutes. How long did this matchup go? Realistically, it was an initial outpouring between Daniel Bryan. They were actually telling a decent story about how Big Cass is getting a little bit overzealous here. He kept showing off after he would kick or beat Daniel Bryan, and they played Daniel Bryan up as a super experienced professional wrestler. You don't want to play around with Daniel Bryan. He might be the smaller guy, but you don't want to let that get to your head. The commentators were telling a great story, and then the matchup just ended just like that. And why did this matchup need to be ended so quickly? You took match time away from matches like this instead of letting Big Cass show what he's got. WWE decided to end it short, and that made it look here tonight like Big Cass has nothing. Is Big Cass even capable of doing anything? After tonight, I'm going to be able to say, well, Big Cass is nothing special. He's boring. He's generic. He's got nothing in the tank. And that's because this matchup went like 8 minutes. You're in there against Daniel Bryan. You should be able to do something with that. WWE didn't even allow the matchup to do something with it. So it's either Big Cass has nothing, and that's why the matchup is so short, or due to time constraints, WWE didn't allow the matchup to go the time it should have. And either way, that's leaving Big Cass looking like a pile of crap. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Big Cass, this matchup, the main thing you were looking at, if you're watching this matchup, is what is the deal with Big Cass? Is he a make or break? Is he a Strowman or is he a Lashley? And surprisingly enough, those two teamed together. Well, after tonight, he's looking as plain vanilla in the ring as a Lashley. And quite frankly, I completely expected that. But Daniel Bryan and Big Cass tonight, they started off telling a good story, and abruptly, Daniel Bryan made a little bit of comeback. Big Cass shut that down, continues to gloat, and Daniel Bryan, he started to get him in a yes lock. Big Cass tried to resist. He hit him with some short arm clotheslines on the ground, and he locked him in, and Big Cass was tapping within like 5 or 6 seconds. Absolutely ridiculous. Generic matchup, boring finish, and it did nothing for anybody. It did nothing for anybody. So that's what the case was here tonight. And after the matchup, WWE, of course, has to do the most garbage thing that they possibly could do, and it's, of course, the post-match attack, which means that this feud will continue, and that is a chagrin to me. That is a negative to me, because I want to see Daniel Bryan move on to bigger and better things, and those bigger and better things are The Miz. And after the matchup that The Miz put on here tonight, I definitely want to see him go up against The Miz. Guys like AJ Styles, guys like Shinsuke Nakamura, guys like Samoa Joe. That's who I want to see Daniel Bryan feuding with. He's on Smackdown Live. Smackdown Live has the most packed roster that it could possibly ever have. And you have him feuding with Big Cass of all people? Are you kidding me? It is an absolute waste of time, and I feel like this is quite sabotage from WWE. Daniel Bryan coming back from injury was one of the biggest news stories heading into WrestleMania 34, which was one of the most packed WrestleManias just on paper, looking at the card, that there possibly has ever been, and that just overtook all of it. Most of the hype was in that matchup alone, just because of the magnitude of the news that it was that Daniel Bryan coming back, and WWE seemingly has suppressed that entirely, and I think this is sabotage. The WWE wants to make sure that, well, Daniel Bryan's back, we're not going to let you get too excited because we don't want this Yes Movement 2.0 to go on. And that is an absolutely scary thought right there. And maybe if you look at this a little bit more closely, that's exactly what's going on. I despise the fact that you're shooting Daniel Bryan with Big Cass. Despite this matchup, you realistically should have moved on to bigger and better things. The one positive that I will give you here, because there is a positive here, is that Daniel Bryan feuding with Big Cass, if the attempt is to get Big Cass heel heat and make him this monster heel, you are doing it, but realistically, what type of heat is it? Is it proper heel heat because he's feuding with Daniel Bryan? Or is it go away heat? That's the thing I still have yet to determine. In my eyes, the heat that I'm giving him is go away heat. I don't want to see Big Cass. I think out of everybody who's on SmackDown Live, Big Cass is the biggest negative. And this is what I hate. This is what I hate. This is what I knew would happen when WWE did this superstar shakeup. I was just thinking of it. In my head, I was saying, well, you have this entire roster that looks absolutely great, but WWE is going to choose the worst seed, just like they did last time. Look at SmackDown Live's roster last year. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, Ty Dillinger, Mike Kanellis was coming in at that time. You just had a guy after guy, Dolph Ziggler. You had all these guys who were prominent, especially coming out of SmackDown's initial run before that Superstar shakeup. John Cena was still on there. Randy Orton. I mean, you had all these guys on SmackDown Live, yet who does WWE choose out of all those guys in 2017 to main event SmackDown Live each and every single month, and at each and every single SmackDown Live exclusive pay-per-view? Jinder Mahal. And that's exactly what they're doing here. You got Daniel Bryan, fresh on recovery. He's out of injury, bro. And you have all these guys. You have this entire cesspool of a roster to choose from. And who do they choose? Big Cass. It's like a Jinder Mahal situation all over again. To a lesser extent, may I mind you. But still, it sucks. It sucks. And the matchup it blew here tonight as well on your Backlash 2018 pay-per-view. We move on here to the next matchup, and that would be this tag team matchup between Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn, and this was a complete and utter waste of time. I have no idea what WWE is going for here. I was not looking at this matchup too keenly, but what WWE went for here throughout the matchup, it seemed like it was a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn breakup, what they were looking for. And I don't understand that in the slightest. A Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn breakup, because there was tension here and what cost them the matchup, instead of losing cleanly like everybody expected to two monsters who you can expect to beat them cleanly in the vanilla Bobby Lashley and the crazy legitimate Braun Strowman. Why can't you just have a clean finish there? But instead, WWE has to have Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn started arguing in the middle of this matchup, and you're going to build them breaking up over not being able to beat Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. I mean, who can beat Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley? You're going to break Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn up because they can't beat those guys? Are you kidding me? And to top this all off, just to put the cherry on the cake on how awful and meaningless this matchup was, they even pinned the wrong man. Sami Zayn was the legal guy in this matchup, yet it was Kevin Owens who took that power slam and got pinned. Are you kidding me? That makes absolutely zero sense. But, I mean, out of all the times that you could have chosen to break up Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn after their initial alliance in October after Hell in a Cell, why would you choose this one? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, I don't get it. Why would you choose now? I mean, why not going into a SummerSlam pay-per-view or even before WrestleMania to get a singles match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on the horizon? But no, instead, WWE chooses to do it now. For what? I don't get it. Will this fabricate into anything? Because multiple times before, it seemed like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to break up, but they haven't done it. They teased it multiple times on the road to WrestleMania, and, I mean, I don't know. Are they going to do it now out of all times? I have no idea. All I know is that the tag team division on Monday Night Raw definitely needs some tag teams, and it would not hurt WWE to make a Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens tag team a dominant force in the tag team division. Same thing with Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. They're not doing anything right now. I've been hearing rumors that they're on their way to winning the tag team titles, or at least fighting the leader of worlds for the tag team titles. These teams have value where Monday Night Raw is stacked in their singles division. These two teams have value going into the tag team division. Now, I don't know if that's exactly going to be the case, but breaking up Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn isn't going to help that cause either way. That was the notable thing that happened in this matchup. The other notable thing is the amount of time that WWE wasted after the matchup by having Braun Strowman and hit 2 extra power slams on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That was like 5 more minutes after the matchup. This show ended at 11:27 p.m. Why did that time need to be wasted just doing irrelevant crap just to pop the crowd? It makes no sense to me, and this matchup went after the Shinsuke Nakamura AJ Styles match. You got to be kidding me with that. It got a decent reaction just because Braun Strowman was in the ring, but nobody cared. Nobody cared because this is a matchup which, one, was not interesting to begin with, and two, was also seen between Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens on Monday Night Raw just 2 weeks ago. So who was supposed to care about this? We've seen these guys in the middle of the ring against each other, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and Braun Strowman in some combination in 10-man tags, 6-man tags, tag team matches, 2-on-2 themselves already, and nobody cared then, nobody cared now. This pay-per-view sucked, and matches like this were exactly why. We continue on here talking about the women's matches, and we're going to start off by talking about Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. This matchup was a complete disaster. I mean, if there is a more evident event than what we saw here tonight as to why you need to end this feud, I mean, holy crap. You're not going to find one, bro. This was absolutely god-awful. One of the worst matches I think I've ever seen from Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. Nothing here clicked. No one cared. And it's just completely evident that this feud needs to be ended. If you have Alexa Bliss coming out tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw and talking more shit about Nia Jax and convincing Nia Jax to give her another title match, I completely give up in anything women's division, whether it's on Raw or on Smackdown. That is just absolutely pathetic right there. I'm not even going to talk about what happened in this matchup. Nia Jax won, literally, I mean, Samoan drop, who cares? Who cares? She's still your women's champion. And quite frankly, I already can't stand Nia Jax as your women's champion. Hopefully, she will go into a feud against either a Sasha Banks or an Ember Moon or even a Natalya for that matter, and will completely be rid of this garbage that we've been seeing between Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss going into and coming out of WrestleMania. Sick and tired of this feud. Sick and tired of the dramatic Divas garbage. This has completely annihilated any form of momentum that the Raw Women's Championship had to begin with. And I mean, I just don't know where they go from here. I just don't know. And quite frankly, after this matchup, I don't care. For now, we move on here to the Carmella versus Charlotte SmackDown Women's Championship matchup. And I think the same could be said. I think the same could be said because I am absolutely flabbergasted by the result of this matchup. I mean, you mean to tell me, you honestly mean to tell me that Carmella can beat Charlotte clean, but Asuka can't? Oh my God, this is one of the worst companies that I have ever seen, bro. Not even 1 month removed from the matchup that we seen between Charlotte and Asuka. Charlotte is beaten clean by Carmella. I'm filing for the papers right now. There was no Billie Kay and Peyton Royce to be seen. There was no involvement of anybody else. Carmella beats Charlotte clean. I should end this review right now. I'm done. After that, the fact that I have to come here and tell you guys that, this show sucked. Charlotte did not walk out the women's champion, and this matchup was completely terrible. And just another reason why Carmella should be removed of her SmackDown Women's Championship. Right now, the champions are Nia Jax and Carmella on SmackDown Live and Monday Night Raw. That is how you know that these women's divisions are god awful. Holy crap. I cannot fathom to talk about this anymore. Just sink in the fact that Carmella can beat Charlotte, but Asuka can't. I think I need to go buy a gun. We move on here to the United States Championship matchup, and this matchup was was won. If I could speak here, I'm absolutely fed up with this show, and I'm absolutely sick and tired of everything right now after watching this god-awful show. But this was a matchup, nonetheless, that people were saying, I myself was saying, don't sleep on it. This is probably going to be one of the best matchups at this entire pay-per-view if Randy Orton decides to work, and if Jeff Hardy, who's no slouch in the ring himself, brings his A-game. These are two of your best in-ring competitors in the entire WWE right now, and that's exactly the opposite of what we saw. This matchup was nothing special whatsoever, just the most basic combination of whatever the hell they can do. Hopefully this feud continues. Hopefully this sparks a Randy Orton heel turn of some sort. But besides a cool drop kick from Randy Orton that kicked Jeff Hardy to the outside, there was really nothing to be seen here. Nothing to be seen here. This was a very disappointing matchup, and this was one of those matches that, if it would have been good in the ring, realistically could have furthered the quality of this pay-per-view, but that's exactly the opposite of what we saw, and it was Jeff Hardy who won here tonight after hitting a twist of fate and a swanton bomb. It was nothing terrible, but realistically, this didn't even make an impact on the show. It was one of the most easily forgotten matchups on this entire show, if you ask me. Nothing much to be seen here between Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship. And quite frankly, that's disappointing. That is disappointing, and it really removes any momentum or hype that there was in seeing this matchup again, or even seeing this divulge into a full feud, because before this, we've only seen 1 week of build. So, I don't know about that. Hopefully this sparks a Randy Orton heel turn. Hopefully we can see this matchup again, and these guys can bring their A-game like I know they could. But besides that, this was very disappointing, but didn't really make an impact on this show whatsoever. And we move on here to talking about the final matchup, and this is actually the matchup that started off the show here tonight. Actually, before we talk about this, there was a segment between Elias, Rusev Day, The New Day, No Way Jose, and Bobby Roode. I'm just going to read you guys what happened here. Pretty much, Elias was doing his usual performance. He was trashing on the crowd in Newark, New Jersey, and the crowd was what made this segment, no doubt about it, completely just lit up was this crowd. They reacted to everything that happened. When No Way Jose came out, No Way Jose got a freaking reaction. Rusev Day doesn't even need to be stated, the amazing reaction that got. The New Day, they came out playing a bunch of instruments. They wanted to play a single with Elias, but that didn't happen. And, of course, Rusev Day came out. Aiden English did his thing. Elias had to say to stop the music. It was just some pretty cool stuff. I just felt it went way too long. I felt that this matchup needed to be like 20 minutes shorter, went way longer than it should have. Or not 20 minutes shorter, like 5 minutes shorter, went way longer than it should have. We realistically shouldn't have been sitting in front of our television screens until 11:30. Some matchups should have gotten more time, and realistically, they weren't allowed to flourish, just like the Daniel Bryan and Big Cass one. I think that could have developed into a better matchup, but they didn't get that time to. But, I mean, the matchup that did develop, moving on from this segment here, which was entertaining and okay, it ended with Bobby Roode showing up and giving Elias a glorious DDT. I found it so cringy when Bobby Roode, I don't know if it's just me, but I found it cringy when Bobby Roode started twerking in front of the New Day and going with No Way Jose's conga line. That was so ridiculous. And what I found hilarious about this segment, just before we move on here, was the fact that Titus Worldwide joined along with the conga line of No Way Jose and Breezango. That just cracked me up because, like, it's one thing to have just random extras in the No Way Jose conga line, but to have whole superstars, whole catering jobbers in the conga line, that was absolutely hilarious. But this was just WWE segment, probably as a service to get everybody on the show, guys like the New Day, Elias, Rusev Day. But besides that, nothing special here, just a very entertaining segment. But we move on to what was no doubt about it. I'm actually competing between this one and Nakamura and Styles, between what was the best matchup on this show. I don't know, but this matchup between The Miz and Seth Rollins was very, very good. The only thing that this matchup didn't have going for it, and what would have made this a fantastic matchup realistically, is the fact that both the outcome of this matchup and the storyline of this matchup, one, the outcome was just so predictable. It was a foregone conclusion, and the storyline was non-existent. There was no investment in anything that you were seeing here. But it developed into a very, very good matchup for the Intercontinental Championship, and this is exactly why I have wanted for so long for the Intercontinental Championship to be on an actual baby face, because baby faces are fighting champions, and this is the second matchup in a row we're seeing for Seth Rollins, probably third or fourth matchup in a row that we're seeing for Seth Rollins, that is realistically making you go like, damn, that is the fighting man's championship. I want that championship, bro. Like, literally, the matchup he had with The Miz here tonight, the matchup he had with Rollins on Monday night, the ladder match he had at the Greatest Royal Rumble, the WrestleMania title win. Those have all been great matches for Seth Rollins, and he's just on this great roll, and I love it. It's a great Intercontinental Championship reign, no doubt about it, just from what we've seen for the small month that he's had it. So great stuff here tonight. This matchup just went absolutely bonkers towards the end. I mean, it was the knee of that The Miz attacked, and there was this great spot. This is really where I was like, whoa! And I woke up because that sound, I loved that sound. Rollins was going for the knee, like Michael Cole loves to say, the knee! I'm glad that's not his official finisher anymore. I'm glad they went back to the curve stomp, because the curve stomp definitely has that oomph to it. But he was about to hit the knee, and his knee went straight into the LED ring post, and it made this beautiful sounds that you just cannot replicate, and it was fantastic. From there, you focused on the knee, and The Miz even locked in the figure four. That was a very intense moment. I'm like, wow, you actually have me on edge. What if Rollins actually taps here? And I don't know how many goddamn times The Miz went for the skull-crushing finale. It was like tease after tease after tease after tease, and Rollins kept reversing it. And the literal minute that Rollins said, I said, how many times is he going to try to go for the skull-crushing finale, and how many times is Rollins going to reverse it? Literally, when I said that, The Miz hits the skull-crushing finale. It was great. Says Rollins was going for like one of those reversals where like you try to pick him up with the gut wrench, but then you turn that into a little roll-up. Instead, Miz like flipped Rollins around and hit the skull-crushing finale. Great near fall there, but what floored me was Seth Rollins. One, he was going for a second rope curve stomp, which if he would have hit that would have looked super impressive. But he misses that, and The Miz hits a second skull crushing finale, and that just floored me, because it actually had me believing that The Miz was going to win the Intercontinental Championship, and that's where Michael Cole did a great job here. And I usually don't commend Michael Cole, but he did a great job because he continued to say throughout this entire matchup, well, The Miz, his 9th Intercontinental Championship, the 9th Intercontinental Championship, is Miz going to beat Jericho's record of 9 Intercontinental Champions? Is he going to tie the record here? And that's like, when they say that, like, you know, WWE loves those statistics, and they love creating new statistics and making how these modern champions and blah blah blah, and he has this to his name, the amount of times that he's held the championship. So I know WWE loves to go for stuff like that, and pretty much that's exactly what I thought they were going to do. Even though it makes no sense for The Miz to take the title, they actually had me fooled there for a split second, and that's the exact role of wrestling, to suspend your disbelief, and that's exactly what this matchup did for the time that it was going. Great matchup between The Miz and Seth Rollins. It was a series of roll-ups here, and I love this. It ended in a super fast pace and out of nowhere, most genuine way you can end it right there. It was a series of roll-ups. Miz went for his, Rollins went for his, and overall, Rollins hit the curve stomp. I actually thought it actually caught me off guard, because I thought he was going for that roll up and then the little kick that he does, the little super kick. But instead, he hit that curve stomp, and it was 1, 2, 3. The Miz was finished, and this feud got its conclusion in that manner, to say the least. Great matchup here tonight, and you started off with probably what was the best matchup on this show. Styles versus Nakamura, also debatable, but I'd say that the finish of Styles Nakamura really took it off contention here. Miz and Rollins really put on the match of the night here, and the matchup that you're most likely to go and watch back on the Backlash pay-per-view. But overall, Backlash was not a pay-per-view that I enjoyed. 3.5 hours of a waste of time, pretty much, is what you can walk away saying on this pay-per-view. A few select moments, but then again, what WWE show or pay-per-view, for that matter, doesn't have its few select moments where your eyes are glued to the television screen? Besides that, it was really a throwaway pay-per-view, exactly like everybody thought it was going to be. When it comes to living up to its name, yes, Backtrash lived up to its name, but Backlash wasn't so good. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed each and every single thing that you heard here. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, and of course, make sure to subscribe. If you have not subscribed yet, I do not know what you are waiting for. Make sure to do it all, and make sure to go check out all the other content, because for now, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and for now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video.